we'd like to invite you to join a very important type of esoteric work, the work of the triangles. It is not difficult to do, but it will call for all you have of love and soul light and as much of the will to good as you can bring into your life as you work with two other people to form a triangle of light and love. We invite you.
There's so many facets to the esoteric philosophy, and one of the pieces that is a central piece has to do with a piece of work called the triangles work. First, the triangle itself as a symbol is incredibly spiritual. A triangle is sort of a representative of the sacred Trinity, and always a triangle will have a will point, a love point, and an intelligent activity point. And in a way, the whole evolution of consciousness is moving from fourness to threeness. You know, it is said that the personality is a fourfold entity, the emotional, mental, and physical, but then you also have the personality as a unifying whole that gives it the fourth element to it.
The triangle is the fundamental geometric form which is meant to characterize the etheric body of this planet. Our etheric body is organized in the configuration of squares. That square must be bisected esoterically, we are told, and form triangles. When the etheric nature of our planet consists of triangles, through the work of great beings and human beings who work within the triangles network, then the powers of the soul and of the spiritual triad will be able to be conveyed through the etheric network of humanity, and it will no longer simply carry the astral and lower mental vibration. Then all matter will be elevated because the etheric triangles network will bring in the elevating energies of the soul and the spirit.
Esotericism works deeply with meanings of numbers and symbols, and one of the great sort of downpouring studies is from the 1 to the 3 to the 7. So there's the initial oneness, which is divided into the Trinity. And you could talk about the Trinity in a lot of different ways, but in this way we could say there's power, there's love, and there's intelligence manifested in many ways. And from that 3, from that power, from that love, from that intelligence, stream 7. And this appears in the 7 sacred planets. This appears in the 7 rays. This appears in the 7 chakras within the body.
All of humanity as a whole has an etheric body, as well as a mental body, emotional body, and a causal body. Because remember, humanity is one entity in the big picture. And there's a major piece of work being done over the last many decades that is called the triangle work, where people around the world are doing meditation work in triangulations. And so people meditate together in a triangle on a daily basis and have a full knowledge of who the other two people are in their triangle, and people are often in many triangles. And the idea is to create an inner meditative sense of alignment with those other two people and imagine a kind of etheric circulatory energy playing out in that triangle. And that this is a movement that is growing, and there are literally thousands and thousands of people around the world who are engaged in the triangles work, and essentially its root service, you might say, is to help humanity in its process of slowly transforming the etheric body of humanity from a quaternary orientation to a triplicity. And so that work is a very, very direct, tangible, meditative effort at facilitating more soul-personality fusion for humanity by facilitating the transformation of the etheric body of humanity from squares to triangles.
We're in this period of purging humanity of great negativity. Okay, so our little task can be, let us form, each of us, 10 triangles, 20 triangles, whatever. It's going to take only a few minutes every day to do that, and we can actually intensify the energy of the soul in the etheric body to such an extent that it can turn human consciousness around. If there are people to whom you want to relate, or you feel a soul bond with them, or some goodwill or some illumination, solicit them and bring them into the triangle process, and sign your triangle up and be faithful to it every day, and it will help humanity make the shift that we know we must all make.
The study of esotericism also helps us deeply understand the inner life and subjectivity and the inner energetic system, and then what is outside of that. And it allows us to look outside from a different perspective, from the perspective of the soul, or from the perspective of the inner subjective life. And so if we are in communion with, or in alignment with, or at one with the soul life, then we can look out into the world and perceive what is outside, what is objective, in an entirely different way.
But what we do know is that the power of visualization is extremely important. So your fellow Triangles members should be visualized as soul-infused personalities. You should feel in your heart center, this is my view, in your heart center, the connection. You should feel in your Ajna center, the connection of light. You hold that visualization, very simple, and you feel and see the energy flowing between the members of the triangle.
The triangle work is a piece of a bigger picture, because really the whole movement of humanity from a spiritual point of view is for humanity to move into a deeper recognition of its oneness. And that can only happen when we condition the etheric field of humanity with more triangle patterns, because the triangle is related to soul, and it's the soul in each of us that is actually able to really truly sense the underlying oneness. The personality cannot. So this work is really, really fundamental, and is probably one of the main initiatives done by the so-called New Group of World Servers. The New Group of World Servers represents the sum total of all people in the world who have some measure of soul infusion and are committing themselves to making an uplifting contribution to human betterment in their own modest way, based upon the nature of that infusion and the inspirations they feel. But what's interesting is that group, and many of them participate in the Triangles work around the world, that group, from the Master's point of view, those liberated souls that have gone before us, they see that group as one entity. And that entity is working internally in unison, even though they may never meet each other in the outer world. And that entity is committed to helping humanity recognize its internal oneness. And this Triangles work is setting the etheric stage for that very thing to happen. So it's an amazingly exciting aspect of work, and it supports the great transition humanity is approaching.
So it's essential in the triangle work that as we are linking with the other two members of the triangle, that we first take the moment to fully integrate, that we show up in soul consciousness. And the Tibetan reminds us that that is the only way that the triangle work really works, is if we each take responsibility to arrive as a soul-infused personality.
When thinking about this triangles work, please keep in mind that it doesn't mean that three people have to be physically together. Most of the people that are working in triangles are doing it in the privacy of their own home, and the other 2 points of the triangle could be in different parts of the world. It can even be with people that you have never met before. The point is that when you get into the etheric levels in those subtler planes, distance of geography means nothing. It's all about underlying unity and underlying patterns that we build that transcend geographical considerations. So don't feel like if you ever wanted to get into triangles, you have to be doing it with people in your neighborhood. It's mostly not that way.
You choose 2 other people and you work with them, visualizing them and yourself as soul-infused personalities. Then you send light, you send love and goodwill through these triangles circulating. You visualize the relationship of your triangle to the entire developing triangles network, and then you say the mantram of light and power, the great invocation, while holding the visualization and seeing the circulation of the energies.
When we use the word Christ in the Great Invocation, it's important to remember that we are invoking the Christ principle in all of us. The Christ is the coming one from all traditions, the Buddha, the Bodhisattva, the Christ.
So let us say the Great Invocation as Master DK and Alice Bailey have given it to us. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth.